Hi, I'm Michael Greco, Head of Security for Asia Pacific, Juniper Networks.
Hi, I'm John Brand, Vice President, Principal Analyst in the CIO Group for Forrester Research.
Bring your own device is a very specific, dimension to this overall phenomena that we're seeing, and so it's more than just about an employee's device. It's also corporate devices. It's about guest devices. And the overall phenomena for us is around convergence of new types of devices that perhaps we haven't seen in the network before, like tablets and smartphones. It's the convergence of new types of access. So not only is it wired access, but it's Wi-Fi access in the enterprise network. It's Wi-Fi access at the coffee shop or at remote locations. It's also the convergence of new types of applications. We see things like social media being driven by enterprises, and how that gets addressed through these new devices is critical and important.
Well, one of the things that we see is that there is a certain amount of additional fear because of the fear of the unknown generally. The number of new devices coming onto the network, the fact that we don't often know what those devices are, where they've come from, what they've been exposed to. And so this idea of bringing an untrusted device onto a trusted network is a scary thing for most organisations. But the other thing that we're seeing is that they're not necessarily set up to be able to respond to those users wanting to bring those devices onto the network. So from an organisational structure and the processes for administration and management, they're not really confident that they've got the right processes in place, the right people in place, the right organisational structures to be able to manage that environment. And the environment is becoming a lot more complex. And with BYOD, what tends to happen is we layer new solutions on top of existing solutions in order to give us that sense of comfort, that sense of security that we have locked down the devices to the appropriate level. And with each new layer that we add, it adds another layer of administration. So we're really seeing this era of increased complexity as a result of trying to satisfy the concerns that we have around the security of BYOD programs.
Many of the businesses in Australia and New Zealand have deployed a basic form of infrastructure to support BYOD. And a lot of this looks like being able to lock, remotely wipe devices and provide some of the basic application access. And top of that list is email. What we've seen is that many of these enterprises have stopped there, really looking and deciding and contemplating what the next steps are after that basic infrastructure is deployed.
We're certainly seeing that BYOD programs have a wide variance of implementation styles, and MDM solutions are the typical entry point response or the most basic response that organisations have. In fact, the survey data showed that passwords and PINs were by far the most desired security feature from MDM solutions, followed by things like remote wipe and data encryption. So some pretty basic kind of services. And as you say, the email is still the number one application, but as the way email is delivered to mobile devices changes, we're seeing a lot less emphasis on messaging applications but driven by email, and more of this kind of idea of hosting and posting email applications. Things like Google Mail and Hotmail, all of these web-based email application services that are being integrated with other applications. So that we see that while there is a tendency to be very reactive today to the need for BYOD programs and mobility generally, we see that there is this line occurring where people need to think about what the future will hold as people become more dependent on the devices, as they want more functionality out of those devices. Those programs will need to be a little bit more sophisticated than the traditional approach that we're seeing at the moment. So I think that level of sophistication is, at the moment, it's very low. People are just saying we need to authenticate the user, we need to authenticate the device, and as long as we can do that and have the ability to remote wipe, for example, we feel fairly secure. But that's not really what BYOD is about. As I said, it's really about device independence, not just bringing your device into the organisation. And that will require some rethinking of network infrastructure, of identity and access management, and those kind of things were reflected in the survey results that we gathered.
I think many CIOs are looking for that solution that can simply connect these devices to the network, have a consistent user policy across all devices, across all infrastructure, and that enables them to be able to deliver the type of performance and effectiveness that their customers are looking for, the other functional groups within the company.